Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the FD Movie Podcast. I am Brandon, your host. Alongside me always is Chris, and I want to welcome back Andrew Christeson once again. We have a very, very special episode today. It is Friday the 13th. And
so what are we talking about?
None other than Friday the 13th.
Oh.
The film series, not the TV series. Because that was kind of awful.
Are you sure? You sure we don't want to talk about the TV show?
I'm almost positive.
Okay.
I'm almost
all right.
positive. Do you guys want to talk about it?
If you guys want to do the movies, I'm fine.
No, I don't want to talk about it at all. We'll just pretend like it didn't happen here because we got to get down to the nitty gritty. We got a lot of movies to cover. No time to waste.
Just a couple.
I am excited for this though.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know Andrew's excited because these are his movies.
Yeah.
Like I'll be far more excited when we do our Halloween one, but still. So. What do we want to start off with first? I would just go right to number one, I guess.
Go ahead. That's fine.
All right.
I got a lot to say about one.
One?
Yeah, I got a lot to say about one.
All
right. In my opinion, I think one is top tier of the Friday the 13th. I think it's one. I don't think it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
But I think it is one of the best ones. For the budget they were working with,
yeah,
it's amazing. It's an amazing movie, and I've got this relationship with it that I love it so much. It has my favorite part of any Friday the 13th movie because going into the first one, I knew who Jason was. I didn't watch Friday the 13th until I was older, like a teenager.
Yeah, so you knew who Jason was.
So I knew who Jason was. And I knew all about Friday the 13th. I knew who he was. I knew he was the bad guy in all the movies, blah, 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 It gets to the end of the first one. And I thought it was an okay movie. I knew it was a lower budget movie,
Very, yeah.
But I thought it was really good for what they were working with. Then it got to the end. And I found out that it wasn't Jason Voorhees, the guy that I knew it was going to be. And
it was a sweet little old lady.
It just blew my mind. And it made it that much better. I can't imagine. I probably would have different feelings about it if I was watching them in order. If I wouldn't have known who Jason was to begin with, I'd probably have different feelings. But for me, it made it that much better. Because it was a total shock for me, and it really blew my mind seeing it, And that's always been my biggest plus for one. It's always been that much better. Plus, I also think, in my opinion, which I know is above most, if I may.
Except for mine.
I think that the very last scene of one... to me, is the scariest scene of any Friday the 13th. When he jumps out of the lake, you think that she's fine and clear, and then he jumps out of the lake on top of her, and he's all grotesque looking and shit. Mm-hmm. That is terrifying.
It's nasty.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't care who you are. Whenever there's a kid that's doing that stuff, it makes it that much more scarier.
And major props to Tom Savini of Night of the Living Dead.
He is an absolute
legend.
Yeah. The best.
Yeah. Andrew, I have to say one thing. One thing I have to say first is we did not plan us our shirts. I didn't expect.
To be fair, they're different.
Different hockey masks.
They're different.
I'm a little more worn.
No Lives Matter. I like your hockey mask better than mine. I really do. I like that one a little bit better.
I like both of them. I like the old school. It's more cartoonish.
More old school cartoonish. Yeah,
that reminds me of Robot Chicken.
Yeah, kind of.
The
my
Robot
wife actually
Chicken.
got me for this. It was pretty awesome. I like it.
I like both of them.
But I didn't expect pretty much the same shirt anyway.
I'm not a big enough fan. Apparently, I'm wearing a.
Moving on from that though,
DC.
Yeah, we didn't call each other. I mean, we called each other, but it wasn't like
it's my bad.
It wasn't like we said, "Hey, let's wear the same shirt." Which one was the first one for you? Was it the first one?
I believe I was aware of Jason like you. And then I saw the first one like late at night on some late night movie channel, and I was up all by myself. And then Jason comes out of the lake. Oh my gosh!
Oh yeah.
But as far I prefer having Jason in a movie. myself, so it's middle of the pack for me.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. It's middle of the road for me. And me, I'm like you guys. I watched it later. I watched a lot of them later. I was probably preteen, early teen for those.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because I didn't have them and I didn't have access to them, and they weren't on TV much until I was older for some reason. I just never seen them on TV.
Yeah.
But by then I'd already had it spoiled by the kids who'd watched it.
Yeah.
And watched the shit. I mean, I knew who Jason was, and I knew in the first one Pamela Voorhees was the killer.
Really?
I did know that by then. Yeah. So it was still cool.
Yeah.
But I think when I finally watched it, I'm like, man, which everything creeped me out kind of back then anyway. You always give you an uneasy feeling being home by yourself and watching it middle of the day or not. Like, I think the reason why Friday the 13th was scary for me like Halloween and Scream, stuff like that scared me. It made me uneasy because of night. The nighttime, the shadows. Scream, I was terrified to answer phone calls.
Yeah.
You know, like, like my dad's buddy would call or somebody wanting to talk to him about something and it was a deep voice and you're like, oh shit. Like, and then you have to like come to it. Your heart just sinks for just 1 second and then it comes back and then you hand the phone off or say, no, he's not here. The thing about Friday the 13th was a lot of this shit happened in the daylight.
Oh yeah.
And it was in the middle of the woods, which, mom and dad didn't live in the middle of the woods, but we're out in the country in the middle of nowhere. And it was just like, I ain't safe anywhere.
Yeah.
You ain't safe anywhere, and that was what was really creepy for me. But yeah, I didn't have that effect that you had with Pamela being the killer in the first one because I already knew it was happening.
Yeah.
And that was also back in the day where you were more worried about seeing people get killed. One, because of the shock value, and you're like, oh, and then the second was you're scared shitless.
Yeah.
But now I look at them very differently. And now it is how I view all of them. I view them by effects and budget and how they're shot. And so definitely back in the day, 1 and 2 were a little bit scarier for me than they are now. Now they're like, these are really cheap.
Yeah.
But I mean, not that they're not special, but
yeah. Now that I watch them, they're not like there's nothing scary about them.
Well, you look
to me.
You can look at the kill count and I don't know. Back in the day, it wasn't the first one that went like really sick. It wasn't the first movie that was like really gruesome.
No,
but it was one of them.
Yeah, it owes a lot to Halloween, actually.
Yeah, it owes a lot to it was a copy kind of that, but it went farther. It went, it's a slasher, but it went further as far as the gore, and it was gory.
Yeah,
and bloody at least compared to I'll say gory, but bloody compared to Halloween and a lot of other movies.
Yeah.
I don't know, I never did watch Black Christmas in the 70s. I never did see that version. And I watched, like, I Spit on Your Grave much later, not back then, but, that was kind of bloody in places, but not anything. It was just more grotesque with, like, the rape scene and everything else. I'd say the first one I can remember was probably that. I'd say that was probably like that. It was groundbreaking though. It really was. As cheap as it was groundbreaking. It was special. I don't know. I think the effects though are something like Tom Savini. I don't know that. Like, what was he? I know he did the first one. Did he do the second one?
He did the fourth one.
The fourth one. He came back for the fourth one, right?
Yeah. On the documentary I saw, he said he got the script for the second Jason movie. And Jason was running around everywhere. He's like, wait a minute, Jason's dead in the lake.
Yeah.
So he said he went on to do The Burning instead, which is a fun little movie.
Yeah. So it's one of those, like most of those movies back then, there wasn't like big plans, and it didn't make much sense to just keep bringing these people back, these guys back.
Right.
Like same with Michael Myers and all that. Like what are we going to do with it? It's kind of supposed to be it.
Yeah, he's dead. The killer's dead. Everybody's dead but Alice. And what do we do? Well, let's try a different concept.
Yeah. The Jason thing was probably at the end was probably just straight up last minute shock value questioning kind of thing. And
one character I really like in the first two movies is Crazy Ralph.
Yeah, Crazy Ralph. Yeah.
Outside the store, you're all doomed.
I like how he delivered it. You're all doomed. Like it was like a weird, like it was the weirdest like delivery.
Going to Camp Blood,
The first one. I really like that. I like that they kind of had, there was a history already there that, they warned people about, and, because of what happened there in 69? The 68 or 9.
I was thinking it was 58 or 9.
Oh, you're probably right.
He would have been like 30.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. And as far as another thing about the first movie, and really the second one, and it showed up again later a little bit, but the first person kills, and I understand they had to be there for the first one because that you didn't want to find out that it was Pamela.
I really liked the first person kill in the first film because after seeing Halloween and having a strong female protagonist, you see this girl and you're like, oh, she's going to be it, and then she's the first one.
Yeah. Exactly. And that really surprised me because that was I really thought she was going to be one of the main characters,
right?
Because she was the first one. Wrong. So they changed that a little bit. I actually do appreciate the first person kills to an extent, but going back now after you watch the other ones, you're like, oh, this is really, really dated, like really corny.
It is really dated.
Yeah. And it's just because and I think most of it was because it's gut shots. Like most of them were just gut shots.
Yeah.
Except for Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. Except for Kevin Bacon. Well, Kevin Bacon, I think, was the best kill of that movie.
Yeah. Well, see, now, I know I already had my turn, but I have to say, Pamela Voorhees was the best kill in that movie for me. Got her head completely fucking cut off.
At the time.
That was shocking to me. Like that, because, like, I don't know, as soon as she cuts her head off, like you see some white and then blood spray out, and like it was. Yeah,
you see what looked like the spine or the bone.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, holy shit! I was not expecting that.
Yeah, there's some really cheap, like crappy slow mo in there, and there was the beginning too.
Yeah.
I think one thing about those kills too is the anytime they did it was like the white flash. The screen paused, the white flash, and it would zoom in, kind of like old Texas Chainsaw Massacre style or something. They did that several times. Yeah, I'd say Kevin Bacon's was my favorite.
Yeah, it was definitely the most memorable counselor death for me.
No, I did watch something where they said that I guess it was only like a one test thing and it failed. And Tom Savini was underneath it, blowing the blood out through the tube. Did you see that? Yeah, like in that one, he was. I think it was Savini, but something had happened, and it got plugged or something. I have to watch it again. But basically, he was blowing into the tube and that's why the blood was going crazy because he had to find a way to get the blood out because it wouldn't work.
I believe it on stuff like this. Yeah. Supposedly there is, when I know you know about it, but supposedly there's a cut scene where Kevin Bacon had a boner.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
And like people have pointed it out since, but
yeah, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, you can't unsee it once you see it.
Oh, yeah, I'll have to check that out. I don't know why. I mean, I don't want to go look at his boner, but Kevin Bacon's a handsome man. But I guess he's handsome.
Anyway, boners aside,
it's bonerific. Bonerific Friday. I really did like one, but I mean, I think. I don't know. It's definitely probably, like you said, middle of the road for me, middle of the pack.
Lower middle for me,
probably. Is it lower middle? Yeah. I mean, it's definitely it's the top. It's in the top half, obviously. I mean, you got a lot of shit in there, but that we're going to eventually get to. Is there anything you guys wanted to add to one?
I don't have anything. Do you?
Not really. Other than going on to 2, which is one of my favorite ones.
Well, let's go on to 2 then.
Yeah,
there's really not a whole lot more to say about 1 anyway. I mean, we pretty much covered everything. The kills were... Well, I'll tell you what, actually, before we move on to 2 real quick, there was another kill in there that I'd forgot about, and I can't remember her name now, but maybe you can remember it. The axe in the face.
Oh, yeah.
The axe in the face.
Yeah, that was a good one.
In the showers. Right in front of the showers. It was kind of...
It's been a long time since I've seen one, and I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
I don't know why... but for some reason when she looked through the curtain thing and then turned around and thought she was fine, for some reason I should have known better. But for some reason I thought she was fine too. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden she wasn't, and I was freaked out. I should have known better.
Well, and that's the thing. The setting it is old, and we've all been there.
Yeah,
like we've been.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got a place down. It's a resort down here that's older, and they've got older showers, older buildings, and you've been in that situation before where you're like, this is really janky.
I've been to camps like that.
Yeah, like this is janky and this is weird.
Yes,
like, that's a perfect place. Also, real quick, I want to mention that I think Alice is one of the weakest final girls.
Yeah, I think we'll all catch a little crap for that, but I agree with you.
We might catch crap, and that's fine. But I think she is one of the weakest. I don't care. She's the first.
I know she's very beloved, but
well, she's sweet.
I think a lot of
she got a cool kill. She was brave enough at the end. She got a cool kill on Pamela, but it was such a weird fight, and it was good and shocking. And she had a very good kill on Pamela, but I think she's the weakest.
I think a lot of her weakness for me comes from the second.
Oh, the first scene in the second film.
Yeah, because there was
the second.
If they should have left her alone. I feel
she said in that documentary that they called her in and she didn't really have any lines. That was all improv.
Yeah.
She didn't realize she was going to die until the very end of it, and she said she probably wouldn't have did it. Otherwise.
It didn't. I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Well, he was getting revenge.
Yeah, but at the same time. At the same time, I wish they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't a huge need other than just to close that book on. Yeah, you killed my mom, and she's the reason why I'm here killing everybody else.
Yeah. It's a good introduction for him. I guess.
Sure. I guess so. Well, I will say that the head in the fridge was creepy.
Yes, it was. That was
the whole lead up to him being in the house was tense and creepy.
Yeah.
And I will say that I don't know why, but for some reason the ice pick really did it for me. Like it was like, oh damn, this is like
For some reason, ice picks are scarier than knives and axes.
You notice that ice picks in movies never are used for ice.
No,
they're always used to kill.
Well, I mean, there's a few I can think of, but
I think I got one in my house. I better take it.
You better throw that shit away.
Throw that shit away. It's just bad luck. Bad luck, Chuck.
Yeah, ice picks always freak me out.
Mm-hmm.
They always scare me because I don't know. They're scarier than knives and axes.
Yeah,
to me.
What else we got for number 2? I think the group was better. I think the characters, the campers, the counselors, themselves were much better.
One of my favorite kills is in 2. Mark, the guy in the wheelchair.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
Me and Brandon were talking last night about this, and that's what he said. That's his favorite death.
I've got 2 or 3 that I absolutely love, and that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, we probably agree on all of them
because it's hilarious. And just crazy.
Yeah, and it's cruel at the same time.
Hilarious and cruel, and of course, I don't know if it was meant to be campy, but that freeze frame,
fade to
white was goofy, and I think it was just so cheap. It was just such a cheap
rolling
then.
Down the stairs was
poor Mark
was hilarious.
He was about to get his dick sucked, and and I don't even know.
Not in this franchise, pal.
Yeah, well, you know that was very shitty of Jason.
It was
like this dude's in a wheelchair.
Could you at least waited?
He couldn't have waited. Jesus,
yeah,
Christ,
5 minutes
man.
after you wait till everybody else, or at least during.
Like this, that's the only time I'm going to say this because you should automatically assume that I mean it for every kill of every movie. Jason, let him fuck. Just let him finish.
Yeah, let him finish. Yeah, right in the middle. Right in the middle's no good.
Come on, man. He is so cruel.
Yeah.
Well, you got that scene in the upstairs of the cabin, and they are going at it, and he gets the double penetration.
Yeah, with the spear.
Both of them.
Yeah, and that one, it was that one where they had the underage girl, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah, she was an underage actress
going at it with John Bon Jovi.
Yeah. So they'd had her killed off screen, or pretty much off screen, and it was a PG-13 kind of sex scene because of she was underage.
Yeah.
This one to me has the creepiest vibe. I really like. I don't know if it's the whole hillbilly thing or what. The scene toward the end where it's just Jenny and Paul running around. And they're wondering what's happened to everybody, and Jason's crouched down, and she's like, "Paul, there's someone in this freaking room." Yeah. And get chills because you can kind of see him.
Yeah.
That's this movie more than any of the other. I don't know, 12, 13. It's probably the creepiest.
Yeah. I agree. It was pretty creepy, and there was a couple different things that I liked about that. Other than Mark's kill, they had. What was the other one? Oh, Ralph.
Crazy Ralph, yeah.
He got eroded in that one, didn't he?
For being a perv.
Yeah, for being a little perv and just he warned him, but he had to go. He had to go out there.
He couldn't stay away.
Yeah, if he would have just left like he was supposed to, had to be creeping on them people.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's funny how you just like draw it kind of a blank when you're trying to talk about it because there's so many. Well, there's so many things.
I do have something to say. The bag over the head.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it compared to the mask.
Yeah,
but I do think it is scarier.
Yeah,
for me, I think it's much scarier than the mask.
Yeah, the one eye and the burlap
sack. That burlap sack, and like you were saying with the hillbilly vibe
or pillowcase, whatever it was.
That is like it's that's kind of like the Hills Have Eyes or something like that.
That was the one with the mom and the son, right? The big fat son on the dirt bike. Same one, wasn't it? I'm thinking the same one. I'm thinking the same one, wasn't it? Where he was singing and he killed. No, that was. I'm sorry. That was 5, I think. Never mind. I'm thinking of
he's running in a circle.
Yeah, I'm thinking of 5.
We'll get there.
Shit.
Yeah.
It was a grocery store. It was like a little food or grocery area. And he had the rabbit, and it's where he killed him on the pot. Yeah. That's what it was. It's the husband and wife. That was what it was. Yeah. Man, I tell you what, it's hard. It's hard to remember all that shit.
It is.
Another of my favorite characters in this is Ted, the skinny guy that tells all the jokes and stuff, who is the luckiest guy in the franchise. He stays behind at the bar to hit on the waitress and never comes back.
Yeah. Wow. Like that how fortunate.
Yeah, how did he get so lucky?
Yeah, how did he get so lucky? What else was your favorite about it? Just the mask and the vibe. Is that pretty much why?
Yeah, I don't know. I like just about everything. I'm sure there's some things, but
that's the reason I ask is it's a very popular opinion. Like it's a very popular movie for
with the
Friday the 13th crowd,
fans.
the big fans, like
the big fans of Friday the 13th.
I'd say Jenny Fields is a big part of that. Yeah, she's my favorite final girl.
Is she?
Yeah, the way she handles Jason. This alluded to earlier in the film that she's a child psychology major.
Yes, and I actually didn't catch that the first couple times I watched it, and then like, oh, that's interesting, because given the ending, and it was a very creative thing that she done at the end, getting it to trick him,
right?
And it was a very good scene. I think she's probably. Man, if she's not my top final girl, I don't think, but she's one of them. Yeah. I have to say that. I have to say she's one of them. Other than that, like, there's the kills are a little bit better as far as there's more of a variety. They're not just a bunch of gut shots. Right. Obviously, they're not in first person anymore because they don't have to be.
I like the hammer to the back of the head of the cop.
The hammer to the back of the head of the cop. The
brutal.
Getting tied up in the trap with a rope and then slitting his throat. That was pretty good. But the bad thing was the girl that was skinny dipping. That wasn't bad. Her kill was off screen though.
Right.
And that's what you notice in a lot of these movies. There's always one or two off screen kills. Yeah. It's like, oh, this is kind of lame.
And I don't know if this is true, but what I heard is the reason why they did some of those off screen was if they would have had like that one more kill on screen, it would have got an X rating.
Oh, really?
That's just something I heard. I don't know if that's true or not. Back then, you never know back then because they were really wonky with their rating system, which they still are, but back then they were even worse. It was kind of just up to their.
We'll get more into that in 7 because from what I heard, they kept sending it back and sending it back. Cut this.
Yeah. So I guess moving on to number 3. If you guys are finished with 2.
Yeah, I am.
I think 3, speaking of final girls, is one of my favorite final girls.
Really?
I don't know why. I think it's just overall look. I think she's pretty. She's pretty, and she's also like she was also scared shitless.
Yeah.
Like she actually was like the actor was very good at playing like she was absolutely fucking terrified.
Yeah.
And then she still overcame and she fought back. I just thought she had a lot more personality about her than Alice did. Alice was just kind of a bump on the log,
Kind of vanilla.
Yeah, very, very, very so. I mean, now the girl from 2 though is right up there because I thought she was very good, and at least she had some kind of good background that they decided to expose at the beginning. But I like the third one a lot.
Yeah, the third movie is
the first one with the hockey mask.
It is the first one with the hockey mask, but it's one of my least favorites just because of the 3D. Because
the 3D, like the kills,
because the scenes stick out. Like
they do now.
I hate 3D. I hate it. I even hate it to this day. I hate the new 3D. I hate it. I hate the gimmicks.
I've been to a couple in theater, and they're actually pretty fun. Like they're cool, but I don't need it. Like,
I don't.
I don't need to pay $2 extra.
Well, I've only went to one, and I didn't like it because it was just. I left it thinking that it was such a waste. Like they could have took that they were working on with 3D, and they could have put that into something else and made this much better or that much better, or they could have done anything. They could have just saved their money.
Yeah.
It's nothing to me. I don't like it. And so that's why I didn't really care for 3. But I can see where other people would be, mad at me for even saying that, because I know there's a big market for 3D for people that like it.
Well, it's not even so much. I don't even know if it's so much 3D. It is other than the 3D shots that stick out like a sore thumb, like you were saying. I think a lot of it was a really good movie.
It was.
I thought there was a lot of good characters, and I thought there was a lot of good kills in it.
Yeah,
it's part of my unholy trinity.
Yeah,
I've got 3 favorites: 2, 3, and 6 later on. And I really did like, her name was Chris, the main girl. I thought she was just beautiful.
Yeah.
I thought she was a little too whiny. That's why she's not my favorite girl. But because they tried to shoehorn in like a rape type.
Yeah, and there was no reason for it.
I can give you that. I'll give you that. Well, because of the, and that awkward unmasking at the end, I think really throws that out of whack for me. I think because I think it's just really weird timing. Like he's like, "Hey, guess who?" And then it was just so awkward, so weird.
Well, and she, what does she say when he unmasks?
You.
Yeah, she's like,
it's his mustache twirling villain.
Yeah, she's
right.
She says, "Not you." Isn't it?
She says it's you or something like that. I think she said
it's something you.
It's the way she delivers.
Yeah, it's like what? Get out of here.
Well, I blame the writers on that because that was supposed to be it just was so out of place, the whole unmasking. That was what made that's like the only part I think in that film that was just absolute shit for me.
Yeah.
Everything else was fine.
See, I think the movie itself was great, but the 3D kills I
did think the harpoon gun kill was pretty cool, even though it was straight up 3D-ish. I mean,
the harpoon kill is one of my favorite moments. You see Jason walk out for the first time.
Yeah.
And he shoots Vera through the eye. Yeah. It's the first mic drop, I think, in the history.
Yeah, he just turns around and walks off.
Yeah. Walks off like a G. Just totally owns it. I love it.
It was good. It was good. And that's probably one, and also from 3 is one of my least favorite characters of the entire series, and that's Shelley.
Yeah, me and Brandon actually had an interesting text exchange last night. We're talking about Shelley a little bit in preparation for this, and he's like, "Oh, I hate him," and I'm like, well, I like him. What a douche. And I thought I thought he thought I was talking about him, and I was talking about Shelley.
I can see looking back now, like, oh, I see he's worried about calling me a douchebag for that, but he wasn't. But it was funny.
Shelley is a douche.
He's a douchebag.
He's one of those polarizing characters. You love him or you hate him, right. and I love him because he's just a bumbling idiot.
Well, he is a bumbling idiot. And like I said earlier, he's one of those characters you kind of, in places, feel a little bit of sympathy for him, because he's just such an awkward guy, and he's trying to be friendly, and he's trying to find friends, he's trying to impress these girls, and the only way he knows how to do it is just to be a complete weirdo like he's been his whole life, and that's to prank people, and some of them are way too far.
Yeah, falling out of a wardrobe is not the right.
Yeah, dead with the axe in his face. That is way too far, and it's childish. And 2 or 3 or 4 times, I expect that, especially in their setting. Like, you could use that, well, it's Camp Blood, we might as well, we gotta, I don't know, we gotta scare people, let's play a little homage to the old Camp Blood stories. So I can understand that it played out just a little bit, but it was like the whole fucking time. And it's like, cannot wait for this dude to die. Like, this guy needs to go.
The character of Andy, the guy that walks on his hands.
Yes.
That's my favorite death in the whole.
Yeah.
That is a good death. That's a good death. And he come out, he just splits that motherfucker in half.
Yeah.
Like,
and he deserved,
he just buckles like
in my opinion, he deserved every fucking bit of it.
For walking
like that.
Yeah.
Fuck you, dude.
Yeah. Now that's a douchebag.
Yeah. Yeah. What the hell's wrong with you?
I do like, it's kind of an iconic camp because you have the barn, and the barn was a big part of, and I love, and that's why I love that they added that map to the new game as well.
Yeah.
The game is really cool. And kind of going back to 2 real quick, I also, speaking of like old Camp Blood stories, I like the fireplace scene.
Yeah, me too. I wanted to add that, but we'd already gone.
Yeah, and I forgot all. Well, that's one of the things that just came up in my mind.
Just adds to the creeps.
Adds to the creepiness, and I love that it furthers it a little bit. Anytime that you can play up the old stories in a movie like that, just makes it much better. Even though it may not be creepier, but it's better in, as far as plot goes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Showing that at least these people are aware of what's going on, and they still don't give a fuck. They still just do whatever. Oh, they pass it off like, oh, nothing's going on.
Yeah,
nothing's the matter.
I don't know about you guys, but if I'd heard stories about a camp nearby that a bunch of people kept getting killed at, and somebody asked me, "Hey, you want to go work here?" No, I ain't gonna do it.
I'd go check it out.
Oh, I wouldn't.
How about that diversity in number 2 though? You had like didn't you have like an Oriental couple, and then stereotypical like everybody in that one? Wasn't that the one that had like a little bit of everybody? Plus you had Mark in the wheelchair. It was just like a weird diverse group of people, and then they finally get black people like really in the series in 3.
Yeah,
and they're thugs.
Yeah.
Right.
You remember that?
Yeah.
They had the one guy, it was like a greaser looking white guy or whatever, almost Italian looking guy that was their buddy, and then they had a white and 2 black male and female.
Yeah.
The characters, of course, Shelley and what's her name had messed with them or pissed them off at the store back in town, and then of course they had to come out and find them.
Oh, of course.
And not even 5 minutes in the camp, and they were dead.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, just cannon fodder.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah. Just bodies. What do they call them? Red coats? I don't know. Is that what they call them? It's something like that.
Yeah.
The red shirts.
Red shirts.
They call them red
Star
shirts.
Trek.
Just real quick. You're dead. I don't know. Is there anything you guys wanted to add to 3?
I kind of always wanted to see that filming location, and apparently, like 10 years ago, somebody burned it down.
Why?
Yes, it was. They burned the cabin.
Yeah, the main cabin. They tried to start a fire in
the fireplace.
Fireplace.
Yeah, it was a fake fireplace, and they tried to start a fire. And
my god!
Yeah, I'd heard about that.
I guess the barn and the dock are still there. Of course, that was a man-made lake, so it ran off. But there's a dock and a barn, I guess.
The barn's still standing, I think. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool to check out.
Still, somebody burnt down a piece of history. Like that's a big part of our,
just by being a complete asshole.
Yeah, that's a big part of our what? How would you say it?
Childhood.
Our society, like American society.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th has played a huge role in most people in America's life.
Yeah. I really wish I could remember these characters' names, all of them. I can't remember all of them now.
Yeah, but there's so many
of them.
There's so many you can't remember.
Who's the girl that found Shelley? Who didn't believe he was dead?
Oh, the stoner.
Yeah, curly headed girl.
Yeah, his name was like Chuck or something. I can't remember what her name was.
Yeah. He got a weird death too, didn't he?
Yeah, like he got electrocuted.
Yeah, that's right. He threw him into the and got electrocuted. Now she got an off-screen death, I think.
Maybe.
I want to say it was off-screen, but what happened was but her acting was so god awful. Oh my god, Shelley's dead. And she was just like hobbling up and down the stairs and just it was like the worst 5 minutes of acting I've ever seen in a movie ever. So I have to give a shout out to whoever the fuck that was, because
I bet she didn't get very many more roles.
I don't know, but that was absolutely god awful. And it's notable now, but it's so bad.
One scene, Jason kills a pregnant woman. Like he gives her the Kevin Bacon death, like through the
Yes, yeah, because she had said something in the van or the car on the way earlier, because said something about smoking or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's funny.
Oh, we can't do that. We're pregnant.
We can't do that. But later on, she asked Andy to go get her a beer.
Yeah.
Was that a thing in the early 80s?
It's still a thing.
Well, I mean that they didn't know it was,
I don't know. Maybe there's.
Oh, I'd say even if they did know, they were probably still.
I know girls who are still smoking a
yeah.
lot while they're pregnant.
Oh yeah,
and that's
there's some ignorant people.
That is stupid. But anyway, yeah, I remember that, and I don't know if they'd actually talked about it.
Man,
I
didn't remember that. That's fucked up.
They didn't talk about it after that, did they? No. They just brought it up the once. Right. I think. Oh, we can't do that. We're pregnant, and then she didn't give a shit. It's like they forgot all about it, and yeah.
Damn, I didn't remember that.
Yeah. Well,
that's fucked up.
I mean, she's probably not very far along.
Yeah. There's the scene where the
for all those crazy pro-choice people, they're like, it's probably not far along.
Yeah.
Where she's rocking the bikini and bent over, and the one guy in the biker gang's like, woof. so yeah, she was still rocking that pretty hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I don't know. I think 3 was really cool. I think it's in the top 3 for me. Yeah. I'd say. Yeah, I like it. Just because of the final girl and then the barn, and I like the ending. I like how the ending played out.
It's something to think about. If part 2 happened on a Friday the 13th, part 3 and 4 were supposed to have happened days apart. So like part 4 would be on like Monday, 16th or so. I don't know.
It was weird. Yeah, it's not supposed to be every Friday the 13th kind of thing, I guess. 4
I never thought of it.
4 was actually one of my favorites in the series too. I don't know how many other people out there think
it's a fan favorite.
Is it really? I really like it a lot for a lot of reasons. I love that they picked up like right after.
Yeah.
Like immediately after, because they brought it, and this time they had a lot bigger budget, so they brought in the ambulances and the cops and the helicopters and stuff like that, and they were cleaning up the barn and cleaning up the whole area, and then they bring it in to like the most like cliche coroner in like all scary movies have that coroner who's just a complete fucking weirdo,
right?
Or an asshole.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, well, like all the paramedics are assholes.
Yeah,
all the nurses are semi good but mostly hoes.
Yeah,
and then the doctors are either drunks or assholes.
Yep,
or incompetent. And then your ambulance drivers are usually pervs or assholes. And then like your coroners are either extremely creepy or perverted.
Yeah.
I think while he's making out with the nurse, he's eating a sandwich and puts it on Jason.
Yeah, he puts it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Nasty. You don't need to go. Yeah, and then he made the reference to the dead girl still being hot or whatever. I'm like, ugh, like this is weird, dude. So then she finally gets fed up and loses the moment when his hand falls, and then she leaves, and then he starts watching aerobics like Master Roshi. Like that's just one of those things. That's ultimate creep.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just watch some aerobics.
So weird.
Weird. I don't know.
We were weird in the 80s.
Were we weird in the 80s?
I said we were weird in the 80s.
80s was probably pretty weird.
People just in general were weird back then.
I think they're fucked up now.
Well, they are, but
I'll take a pervert watching aerobics over the shit we got now.
At least you know where he stands.
Christ, we got a bunch of child having pedophiles.
Well, true. Well, I mean, they were around back then. They were just
they didn't have
better
computers
hidden.
to stock it all up on their fucking computer like a bunch of weirdos.
They were just better hidden back then.
Yeah,
they just worked for. Well, I won't say.
Four I really like. It's what brings it down for me. I don't think the cast of teenagers are as likable.
Really?
I don't think so either.
I don't know. Well, maybe they're not as likable, but it's definitely the gratuitous kind of teenagers you'd want to see in a movie like that. You get your awesome nudity shots, and then the girl who got killed in the raft was one of my favorites kills in that one. Plus, she was super hot.
Yeah, she was smoking hot.
Smoking hot. One of the most unique and prettiest girls, I think, in the series.
Yep.
She gets impaled from the bottom up under the raft, and that little extra growl she does was, I think, improv, and that was kind of weird. But
that was that's my favorite death of the movie.
Pretty much the same. Yeah.
Even though I hated to see her go, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what it's like. That's one I hated to see go in that movie. Also, the Doublemint twins.
Oh yeah,
I like that. Yeah. I like them. They had some good deaths actually.
Yeah, they did.
That was actually pretty. Her getting stabbed and then thrown against the wall.
Yeah.
And impaled into the wall, into the side of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The two that I like are, I think his name's Ted, and Crispin Glover's character, who
Oh my God,
Crispin Glover
says you're a dead fuck.
Yes, that Crispin Glover's is one of my favorites too. Hey, you guys seen the corkscrew, the good one? And then like it goes right into his hand.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's like, if you watch it, like, it's been a while since I watched it, but I'm pretty sure there's got to be like 25, 30 seconds in between the corkscrew going in his hand and him and the machete going into his
face.
head.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't make a sound. He just kind of,
That's Crispin Glover's awesome acting.
Looks down, freaks out that the corkscrew's in his hand. I think he does. I think he actually does yell out.
He might, yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It seemed like an eternity for me between him getting the corkscrew in his hand and then the machete in his face.
He's like the weirdest person in the world, I think.
Can we talk about his dance moves?
Oh, we can. I actually liked him.
I mean, I want to, but at the same time, I kind of don't. I want to forget. That right there. Earlier
white people in the 80s.
Earlier in this show, I said that the scariest part for me was the end of the first one. I lied. Crispin Glover's dancing,
as it should be.
That is the scariest
moment
in the whole series.
On set, he was actually dancing to heavy metal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's where those moves come from. He was just spazzing.
That's still.
It was terrible.
That is
terrible.
That's like a 50-year-old white guy dancing to something like that in the 50s.
While he has a stroke.
He still looked like George McFly in that movie.
Yeah, he did.
Like, that was just the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts, and I can't say this about a lot of movies, is I thought Corey Feldman was awesome.
He was good.
He was great in that movie.
I watched it a while back, and I forgot how creepy looking that little motherfucker was.
Oh, there at the end.
Yeah.
You should see him now.
Oh my God, that was like, that's almost as creepy as his music career. Almost.
Oh, that is awful. But that's not even as awful as the people who are supporting him and telling him he should do it.
No, you should not. Do not support that.
We have like music shows. We have Can You Sing and dance kind of shows with really asshole judges that are turning away people better than him.
Oh, by far.
And like they're saying, we just don't think you're a good singer, and people who tell you you're a good singer are lying to you and being nice.
Have you ever watched him sing a song?
No.
Okay, after we get done here, you have to watch that.
Can it be any worse than Macaulay Culkin's band that sings about pizza?
It's got to be up there, if not worse. And he definitely brings the spirit of Michael Jackson back out, but not really at all in a good way.
Yeah, he makes him roll around in his grave.
Well, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. But you're all right. Back in the 80s, Feldman was a lot better and was more iconic and more tolerable. And in that movie, he was.
I will say. I really loved the brother sister, or the sibling, I guess I should say, connection there, because you could tell like she was going to do anything to protect him.
Yeah, especially once the mom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I really liked that. I thought that was really. It was a really, I guess, deep, I guess you would say, thing for a slasher movie.
Well, for him to do what he did at the end, and give that back, that was insane.
Yeah,
and to him be smarter. I also want to know though how that little asshole was good enough to make all those masks at his age, and where did he get the reason?
Right. Well, Tom Savini was doing.
Tom Savini was the one giving him the mask. Another.
To me, this is the most menacing Jason has ever
in
this movie. To me, as much as I like Kane Hodder later on, who was in some bad movies. Ted White, who doubled everybody from John Wayne to who knows who all else, was amazing. And I know we talked about it the other day. You don't like when Jason runs?
No, I don't.
Yeah. I think that added to it.
Oh, it does. It adds to the scariness for sure. That's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
I want him to be slow. Goddamn.
Yeah. Anytime they run more than a brisk walk.
Yeah, exactly. If it's more than a brisk walk, they're catching me.
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
Yeah,
I run for no man.
That's definitely a lot creepier in this. Well, and he had a lot more brutal deaths, I think. In this one.
Yeah. And his death, I think, is my favorite death in the movie, where he slides down.
That is a good. Well, for all the, you mean just completely or just all of his deaths?
Of all the deaths in this movie.
I
think his death to me is the best one.
He had a very, very good death.
Yeah,
that was sick. Him sliding down on that machete all the way down, because that pretty much solidifies that this series could have ended right there, 1 through 4.
Yeah, I think that was the intent.
They all tied in together, and that was the intent. You're right, and that's like there ain't nobody coming back from that. This guy, maybe a little bit superhuman, but he's still human.
Yeah,
and he was throwing people out windows and throwing these girls up against walls really like violently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a big son of a bitch.
He's a big son of a bitch,
and they're little.
Exactly.
It was realistic-ish.
Yeah, it was more realistic especially than the later ones, for sure.
And that machete through the head. There's a funny story that I heard from a Comic-Con that one of his last ones that Ted White did. He said he was walking back to his trailer one night, and he was in that Jason makeup with the machete in his head, and he hadn't got it taken off yet. And he said they were filming where that house is down in a valley, and he had to walk up this hill to his trailer. And he says he crossed this outlet road, and he said this African-American gentleman saw him and couldn't see him in the dark. He's like, "Hey, brother, you need some help?" And he leans in with that machete in his head. He goes, "Why? I'm just going, holy shit." Somewhere there's a guy with a heck of a story.
I guarantee it. Yeah. That would have been awesome. I would love to have been on the set back then just to know.
Oh, yeah. Any of these.
Any of them, yeah. Any of them. Same with the Halloweens. Like because that's my favorite series. So that
well,
and awesome.
I got one more thing. To say, and you were already saying it. I just wanted to add a little bit to it. And I will counter. I'll be counterproductive to what I'm going to say later, but I kind of wish they would have stopped at this one, and then maybe done some like one shoots. I guess that's what in the comic book world that's what we call
one-offs. Whatever.
Yeah, like one-offs.
Yeah.
When you could do like Jason X, where it doesn't matter. No timeline matters.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah.
I kind of wish
are there, and that's
I kind of wish they would have done that, because when 1 through 4 was all connected, everything mattered. Death actually mattered, and that made the story better to me.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they would have stopped and then done one-offs after that. You know what I mean?
It probably would have been.
But keep in mind, I will undo everything I just said later on when we talk about other ones.
I mean, if you really think about it, they kind of were one-offs. They weren't really. I mean, other than 6,
kind of.
Other than 6, and we won't go in completely into 6 yet. But I mean, there's a little bit of a tie-in in 5 and 6, just a little bit of like flashback kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But they were kind of one-offs in their own right. They didn't have anything to do with the next one. You know what I mean?
Right.
They really didn't.
Yeah.
So, but they just weren't all as good.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, the ones the ones where they did connect stuff to the older ones, I just wish they wouldn't have.
Yeah. I mean, that was what was so great about 1 through 4 is they all felt like it was some kind of thing. It felt like it was this big long chapter.
Yeah. Stuff really mattered.
Death
mattered.
Yeah. Stuff mattered, and that was pretty much it. And. Yeah, I mean, because they didn't really kill him in a like a crazy way. I mean, they attacked him, but it's nothing that he really couldn't have come back from.
No, completely.
I don't know. Definitely not like the deaths they gave him in the later movies.
No, nothing like it.
But there's a lot of cool moments from those movies. Do we want to move on to 5?
Yeah, I don't have anything more to say.
You get on 4?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I don't really know what else. There's just so many good parts of 4 that I really, really enjoyed.
The only part of 4 that's still kind of kicking around in my brain is the character, the Jason Hunter.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember the character's name, but he's supposed to be Sandra's from part 2, the underage girl.
You know what? I just remembered that guy. Yeah.
Supposed to be her brother, and he's been hunting Jason for months. But the events of part 4 are supposed to be like 4 days after the events of part 2.
Right.
So there's like a major plot hole that the whoever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that was it the worst death? He was one of the worst deaths.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was one of the worst deaths. Now that I'm thinking about that, he's killing me.
That's
killing
weird.
me.
Yeah.
It was like what?
Why?
Why are you saying that?
Why?
We know he's killing
yeah,
me.
if,
badass.
Yeah, why don't you die?
Run.
Yeah. Why don't you just quit the fucking talking and start dying?
Just dying.
And start dying.
Yeah, you
Either do something, get out of there, or die.
Or die.
He's killing me. That was awful, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god, such a badass character all the way up until then.
Yeah.
Because he had that strong look about him until then. There was a lot of shit in 4 that you just kind of forget about. I like the skinny dipping scene too. Skinny dipping scene where like Corey Feldman's like, oh
yeah. Oh, I was gonna say I really liked 4. I really
did. Yeah, I liked it.
But
it's after my top 3 favorites, but I still like 4.
Yeah, I'd say.
But they, back in the day, like way back then, nobody was really, or well, I can't say nobody, but there wasn't a whole lot of people making movies that really just paid extreme attention to details. There was a lot of stuff slipped through the cracks on a lot of movies. So, I mean, it'd be easy to do, especially when you have that much
and that low a budget.
Yeah, well, you have that tight of a schedule and a low budget. I mean, it's going to be really hard to do.
And I don't know how movie releases were back then, but like VHS and Betamax were like, when did Betamax come out? Was it right after? It's right after VHS, wasn't it? Or right before?
Yes.
Yeah, sometime.
And I don't know the availability and because the pricing just to buy them to rent were like sometimes $100 a copy back then.
I want to say, of course, I was a little kid back then, but I want to say it was like a year before you ever saw like a VHS.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so you didn't really have access to these movies the same. Like, I think we notice more now.
Oh, yeah,
because
probably.
we have all of them at our fingertips. We can just pop them in or get online and watch them real quick, and we can see everything, and we watch them over and over again, see the flaws. Plus, we also can compare them to much better films that have been made since.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different thing. Back then, I'm sure to your point, I'm pretty sure that they just didn't catch shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be extremely hard.
You'd watch them once or twice in theaters, and then you wouldn't see them again for over a year or better.
Yeah.
So now we can just literally see them in 2 or 3 months.
Oh yeah.
And they're nothing. And like I said earlier, like even movie stores when they rose to prominence, they were getting copies of movies for $60, $70 a copy. In a lot of cases, $100 a copy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's just I don't know the actual number. It's a roundabout number of what these businesses were buying these copies for.
Yeah.
But they were also renting out like crazy. But I don't know. That's insane. And you had to rewind them. That's what's even worse.
Yeah, you had to pay somebody to stand there and rewind movies.
Yeah, that's insane.
Well, I mean, I always rewound my movies.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was a good boy.
It's not as insane as number 5 was, though. Was that a really shitty segue?
It works. It's all it deserves.
Good.
So it's all good. Just a really shitty segue for a really shitty movie.
I have 2 notes. I prepared a few notes. Terrible and tits. There's a girl.
I like the second team.
Yeah. I love it's the only redeeming factor of part 5. The girl with the
gratuitous.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, the Woods one.
Yeah,
the one that got person in the eye.
Yeah. She was amazing.
Yeah, for sure. That was very gratuitous. That's what they did. They ramped up the gore and the titties.
Which on the documentary I saw, this was directed by a guy who had done a lot of porn.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I'd actually just read that the other day. It was when I was watching some stuff on these. It was a porno director.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. I can see it.
And that was another one. And this was the one with the crazy ass mom, the redneck hillbilly mom, and her crazy hillbilly son. that's like inbred. I'm pretty sure. But he'd got his ass whipped by Tommy Jarvis, who was a complete nutcase. And this was another thing too. They had the flashback with Feldman. They brought back Feldman for this one.
Yeah.
At the very beginning. And he killed 2 people in a dream. And then Tommy Jarvis woke up and he's this good looking, really fucked up psychologically fucked up guy. And he goes to this like halfway house, so to speak, like it's with a bunch of other nut jobs or a bunch of weird. And I don't even know what most of them had a problem. Like most of them didn't even have a problem. You had one psycho, which we can talk about in a second. We had the one that break dances, which the pop and lock was pretty impressive. I'll give her that much. and then you had a guy who stuttered, and that was pretty much it.
Well, I mean, back then they may have put somebody in the nut house for stuttering. You never know.
And they had a little black boy in it.
Reggie the Reckless.
And his grandpa. And what was his name? Joe? I don't know why. For some reason,
I remember Reggie.
For Grandpa Joe, I'm thinking Willy Wonka.
I've seen them all multiple times. I've watched this film once.
I was about to say,
I've watched it several times. I watched it several times.
Because of the gratuitous sex scene.
Oh, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
I know.
Probably wore that VHS out.
I didn't have it on VHS. I got it on DVD.
Oh, it's all scratched then.
It's all scratched up. They don't even work anymore. No,
pause button wore off.
You know that little function you can do after you pause it and you hit the forward.
Oh yeah, the slow motion.
Oh
yeah, I know, baby.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I know, baby. No, I watched it a few times. Not that many. Let's get real.
I've watched it one
it's
time.
Not that good.
I watched it one time and I didn't even pay attention to it. I'll be perfectly honest.
You're better off.
I didn't even I realized what it was going to be the first 10 minutes into it.
You got the fat guy who can't stop eating, who's weird.
Yeah.
And he gets killed by one of the other people, the psycho I mentioned earlier. And then these paramedics show up, and one of them's an asshole, like always.
Yeah, always.
You guys can never seen a dead body, you bunch of pussies.
Yeah.
And then the other guy was just completely quiet and weird.
Yeah.
Which was Roy Burns. And they didn't even allude to any of it until the end.
No.
And they didn't even say why. They never even told in the whole movie why, did they?
Why it was him? That was his son.
I know that the kid that was eating the chocolate bar that got killed was his son, but when did they say it in the movie? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
It was just there at the end, wasn't it?
Maybe. Was it? Okay.
I think so.
He flipped his shit because when he saw his son's dead, he's dead.
Yeah, he definitely had a major reaction.
Yeah, and then he had to find... Yeah, it was definitely a major reaction looking back, but it was weird. And then he had another weird dialogue with the cop later. Are you talking to me? I thought you were talking to me. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
The whole thing was weird.
The whole thing was weird.
But you had the diner chick who showed her boobies off, and then they were snorting cocaine. Then you had the perverted guy who was the driver, one of the bus driver.
You had the scene we were talking about off screen where a guy named Demon gets killed in the commode, singing "Ooh baby, baby" to us.
Ooh baby, yeah. Ooh,
awful.
Baby. Ooh. Yeah, that was awesome. I loved it. I loved it. And he killed his girlfriend, and was shaking the shitter on him, scaring the shit out of him. Ooh, baby. I'm going to sing that all night now. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. What was that? Do you remember that guy's name? The actor?
Not the actual actors. The character's name, he was Reggie's brother.
Reggie's brother, yeah.
His name was Demon.
Yeah, Demon, that's right.
Yeah.
He was actually a good guy, too. He was actually a good, somewhat decent brother.
Yeah.
To at least, anyway. Maybe not a good guy, but he was at least a decent brother to Reggie.
Yeah, too
Reggie
bad.
Reckless. Too bad you're dead.
Too bad you dead.
Too bad you dead.
Oh, no, he dead.
Oh, no, he all dead. I hated Tommy Jarvis in this.
Yeah.
I really did. I hated Tommy Jarvis in that one.
My favorite.
Even though he was a badass, right? Like anytime somebody touched him, he'd flip out on them, kick their ass. And at the end, he seen Jason, then froze up.
Yeah.
He seen what he thought was Jason, then froze up like a little bitch.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, he has had some traumatic experience.
Fuck, he stabbed the shit out of him when he was a kid.
Well, yeah, but
he can't be that fucked up. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew how to fight him.
well, he probably thought he was dead.
Well,
It'd be
kill him
like
again.
seeing a ghost.
Kill him again.
Be like seeing a ghost.
Kill him again, Corey Feldman Senior. I don't know that guy's name at all either.
I don't either.
The actor's name. God, what a terrible movie, but a lot of great boobies.
Yeah.
I sure do like boobies.
Yeah, I sure
dirty pillows.
I sure do like boobies.
I do like boobies.
The best part of it. Best part of the whole
even
movie.
even the little pervert that was trying to get hired help from the hillbillies was in there and creeping in the bushes, watching them have sex or whatever, and then he gets like murdered.
I don't blame him.
But that was actually no, it was a different guy. Never mind. Was it the same movie that the guy got the belt strapped around his eyes and then he twisted it with the branch and then crushed his head? Was that the same movie?
That might have been it.
Was it in the same movie? That was a really good kill.
That was a good kill, but I can't remember what movie that was in.
I'd say the best kill has to go to the girl, obviously because she's naked, and also the clippers in the eyes was pretty. Yeah. It's pretty awesome, but you didn't see it. You didn't see it. You'll see in the aftermath. But man, that was really, really close.
Anything to do with the eyes freaks me out.
I guarantee you that just one little extra scene in that movie would have given it. Would have. Yep. Yeah, I just had that.
I bet
feeling.
You're right.
There's just so much that they could. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one of those sex scenes in one of the movies where they were. I want to say they were both naked. It was Jason Goes to Hell. I think that just clicked. I don't know why. I was thinking it was 5, but it was Jason Goes to Hell. I think they were actually. I think it was that one in the tent.
In the tent, yeah.
They're actually naked on that one. Completely naked. It was weird. I don't know. I've watched too much Friday the 13th shit in the last few days. It's been insane.
It's hard. There's so much stuff to go with this series.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so much to remember, and I'm not an absolute, I'm not a huge fan like Andrew is. And so I don't remember every detail that I would usually remember about most series.
Right.
Like anything that I'm a big fan of, I remember everything.
Yeah.
And then whenever I'm just kind of a fan of something, I only remember about half of it. And so it's like really hard. It's really hard for me to sift through and say, oh, well, I really like when this happened, but I don't remember what movie that's from.
Yeah, when you're talking like so many movies,
exactly.
It's hard to...
I really like this character, but they're from this movie, and we're talking about this movie. Like, there's a lot of shit. Like, there's a lot of shit to go through.
There really is.
There really is. There's a lot of characters.
I like them, and they're like, I'm a big fan of a lot of these slasher films, and it's hard for me to just.
I like
them. Even now, I know if I watch it or hear it, I'll remember it. But it's hard to just think of it in your head, everything that happened, because some of them bleed into the next one.
Yeah,
and you're trying to think of which one was in. I remember most of them from each movie. I just can't remember. I can't always remember the names, and that's my biggest problem. Oh, and real quick, going back to 3, I have to say no one mentioned this, but what's his name? Was it Rick?
Oh, Rick.
Yeah, his death was absolutely terrible.
Yeah. Chalk that up to the 3D.
Yeah, the 3D. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was.
We didn't really touch on him. What a jerk.
Yeah, complete asshole. And
I could have been with such and such this weekend.
Yeah, and then they split up like a bunch of morons, and then she comes outside to check, and then he's right there around the corner, and he's holding him, and then he just pops his head, and then it was terrible. Obviously, you can see it's a fake head.
Yeah, obviously.
And back in the 80s, what can you do? But I mean, Savini wouldn't have done that.
No.
And it looks like he'd stolen Pamela Voorhees' sweater.
Yeah, it did. It really did. What are you trying to do, Rick? Asshole.
It's only so many cold showers a man can take.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Well, I mean, that's. I don't really. Is there anything else you guys need to add to 5?
No.
I feel like we really tried on that one. Like we really tried. Yeah. I mean, I do like boobies, but there's only so much you can talk about after the movies. Is it because it was pretty awful? I was really disappointed. I like the death of Jason in that one. And then you find out it's Roy Burns, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? I can't imagine being in theaters or...
Oh, I would have been pissed. I would have been absolutely
you can't
pissed.
imagine watching that and oh my God.
Yeah. Anytime in these horror movies, anytime it's a copycat, it pisses me off.
Yeah.
Which I think 5 almost killed the franchise, but I think the next movie sort of brought it back.
I really do.
I agree.
And that we are almost out of time, so I'm going to leave it at that. And I think we will do a second part to this because there's just too much shit to talk about, especially in the last one. So I think this will be perfect. We get the final chapter and the shitty one out of the way, or we get the first 4 chapters and the shitty one out of the way, and then we'll move on to the second half where where it's reborn and it comes back.
Start on a high note.
Yeah, and we'll bring Andrew back for that.
Awesome.
It's been an awesome Friday the 13th, and we've had a lot of fun talking about this. I think we're going to probably pick it up on Monday and just air the second part on Monday since we don't really do the movie podcast on that. So that's what we'll do.
Y'all be careful and don't have sex in the woods tonight.
Do not go in the woods at all. We'll see you Monday.